Listen, if you want to have a little bit of a good time watching a movie, you don't want to be beat over the head with a message, and you want to have a little bit of a laugh, or at least I got a little bit of a laugh, and you're okay with movies that I call mindless violence. So, for example, the movie Blade, I would call Blade a mindless violence movie because it's got a really simple plot you can follow, and there's a lot of violence and action in it. And it's kind of mindless. It's mindless violence. It's not some deep philosophical expose or critique on anything. It's not trying to push massive agendas, empowering anything. It just is what it is. Then Nicolas Cage in the retirement plan, give it a bit of a look. It's one of those probably only cost $5 or $10 million to make, maybe if you're lucky. And it's just a good, fun way to spend about an hour and 40 minutes ish, in my opinion. Look, if you've seen the trailers, then you should have a good idea what's coming in this movie. And, the trailers kind of give it away. His half caste granddaughter comes to him for help, and his daughter is talking with his friend and basically says, "My father's an assassin, isn't he?" And his friend's like, "Yep, yep." But there are things within the movie that kind of chuckle and almost make fun of itself. Because when she's talking with Nicolas Cage's friend, he walks around and he says, look, this is the part of the movie where I say to you, you got to cut your dad some slack. And I thought, that's right. It's in the movie, and he's referencing that it's a movie. And when Nicolas Cage is talking to his granddaughter, he turns out she likes football, NFL, and she wants to be a quarterback. And he says, "Are there many female quarterbacks?" And it's a yes or no question. And she says, "Girls can do whatever boys can do," with this smug look on her face. And I'm thinking, you didn't answer the question, but okay, girl power, you go, girlfriend. Just seemed a little bit, it didn't flow, but just the way she said it all smugly and things like that. There was a couple little smug things that came from her as well that just seemed out of the blue from what we'd kind of seen earlier with a little bit of her characterization. But that's okay. And another one that gave me a chuckle is when one of the characters is talking to the bad person, the baddie, the villain. The villain's name is Hector, and Hector is a woman, and saying something to the villain, and the villain says, "Well, of course, I'm a criminal." I thought, that's exactly right. It was a stupid thing to say, but the criminal then saying, "Well, of course, I'm a criminal. What do you expect?" sort of thing, just fit in line, and it gave me a chuckle. I did lose a little bit in the story itself when there's multiple double crossings going on, and I was kind of losing track of who was someone on the inside and who were they playing off against somebody else, and I was just kind of losing track of a variety of things. But look, I guess in some way, shape, or form, it all worked out in the end, and it's what I call a mindless violence movie. So something like Blade or Rambo, I call them mindless violence movies. They're not trying to push some massive agenda, this, that, or anything else. They just are what they are. They're a cheap movie, old-fashioned style, something you might have expected to see out of the 80s or something like that, or even in the early 90s. It's just pleasant to see a movie that comes out these days that doesn't have this massive agenda getting pushed all in your face all the time, forever and ever. And it was just a pleasant, enjoyable experience just because of that, where I'll see something else and there'll be scenes in it you'll just cringe. Like, that scene's not necessary and it ruins the movie. So none of those sorts of message elements that the big studios are putting out, it wasn't really in this film. The film was just a good sort of romp, and it had some interesting camera angles when certain people were getting disposed of by Nicolas Cage, who just seemed to be able to kill kill everybody. So my verdict on it, if you want a little bit of light-hearted, mindless violence, and you've got a spare hour and 40 minutes and you can watch it, then I say give this movie a bit of a look-see. I think you might enjoy it.